What's going on, everybody? GemMint here, and as I'm reading in between omnibus, waiting for the next new comic book day, and waiting on about 4 statues to come in, I'm going to hit you with a list. But I think this is going to be a good video. This is popular characters that still haven't been made into quarter scale or better statues. So I'm not going to count anything Bowen, anything DC Direct or smaller scale. I'm talking the premium thing. Quarter scale, 1/3 scale, half, life size, or whatever. Now, I gotta give big props to XM Studios because without them, this list would have been 10 times longer. They did so many one-offs of great characters. They did Moon Knight, they did Iron Fist, Scorpion, forget it, going down the Spider-Man Rogues Gallery, they did Sandman, Vulture, Electro, they did Black Bolt and Medusa with Lockjaw from the Inhumans, and they even did Namor, just to name a few. Before we get into main heroes and villains, I have a couple of supporting cast characters that I think would be really great statues, and surprised they haven't done it yet. From Spider-Man's Rogues, as I mentioned, Jonah Jameson. I don't know if you want to do him at a desk. He's got to have the cigar, but he's got an iconic look. You're going to know who it is right away. I think it's a popular enough character that it could be made into a statue. And we're talking licensed pieces here, so customs don't count. Now for the DC side of things, you got Alfred. I think I've seen maybe a custom Alfred, but I'm surprised that we haven't got a premium Alfred, whether it's part of like a quarter scale diorama or just a standalone character. I could understand maybe not as much want for him. I think you could sell 500 to 1,000 of those pretty easily though. Just like the next one, Gordon. You got to have James Gordon here. He's also an iconic look with the trench coat, with the smoking. If you even made him with a bat signal, that would be amazing. Imagine a 1/3 scale bat signal that lights up with a Jim Gordon. That would be awesome. All right, now on to the main characters. We're going to start with DC Comics, and we're going to talk about Clayface, a huge, literally, Batman villain. I think if they made him like as big as Juggernaut, it would be an amazing piece. Just think about all the movement with the clay, the switch out options with the hands to make different types of weapons. It could be a diorama like this picture that I'm showing here, or it could just be a big, massive character. They could do a lot with the base and add color where there's lacking color in the character himself. Clayface is a Batman villain that I think a lot of collectors would jump on. I'm surprised it's not out yet. From DC, I also highlighted Blue Beetle. Man, not a very popular character, but he's had a couple of great runs. Been around for a long time. A lot of different costume iterations. And I'm thinking Blue Beetle, you got to mention Booster Gold too. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy this, but there's got to be a couple hundred statue collectors that would buy a Blue Beetle and a Booster Gold, even if it's just a premium format. I mean, they do stuff like Power Girl over at Sideshow, so I can see this kind of right in their DC kind of Justice League lineup that they got going on. Keeping it on with DC, we've got Dr. Fate. Awesome, powerful character, great costume design. XM does have an Easter egg. I think his helmet in the Swamp Thing quarter scale piece that they've made, and we've got a ton of Swamp Thing. But a Dr. Fate is definitely needed. And then again, you can't really mention Dr. Fate without the Spectre. These are Bronze Age, awesome DC villains that are uber powerful with this cool green cloak, and you can do stuff with his powers. Think like the Doctor Strange maquette. Or even a 1/3 scale piece from Prime 1. I could see them pulling that off as well. Now, thanks to Prime 1, we don't have to put Penguin on this list. They do have a 1/3 scale coming that is also part of a companion / diorama Batman. So I gotta say, the Riddler, we need that comic version. I'm shocked that there isn't at least a comic version, a movie version of Jim Carrey. Prime 1, that would be awesome too, 1/3 scale to go with the Val Kilmer. The new iteration, the animated series, there's so many great versions of the Riddler, and we don't have any in quarter scale or better. That's crazy. The last from DC is actually 3 characters, and some of my favorite DC characters in general. We've got Cyborg Superman. I would love the rest of the reign of the Supermen. We need that Superboy. Steel in 1/3 scale would be an amazing piece. And then the Eradicator, the Man of Tomorrow Superman. That would be cool as well. Probably the least popular out of the 4, but even that, and then Superboy Prime. There's a bunch of different Superboys you could do. But me, if you've already given a Cyborg Superman, who would have thought? Let's finish the reign of the Supermen, as we already have Doomsday. We got Superman Hush. We got the Superman Doomsday Dio coming. You know what to do, Prime 1. Which is going to bring us on over to Marvel Comics. So, first up, I'm going to give Darkhawk a mention here. I know there is a cult Darkhawk following. I know my man Mr. X is hoping for a nice quarter scale Darkhawk. Great costume design. They have modern versions, 90s versions. You could do a lot with the wings, the whole raptor suit. I think Darkhawk, again, not a huge character, but I bet you could sell 500 of them. And then we have one of my personal favorites. Me growing up, I thought this character was a hugely popular character with Deathlock. Awesome design that would lend so well to a statue with the weaponry. You could even do kind of teleportation, Easter eggs in the base, kind of how you guys did Cable. Talking to Sideshow, obviously. But who else would tackle? I could see XM doing a Deathlock. They kind of go for those obscure one-off cult following characters like Ghost Rider or Moon Knight. And Spider-Man being one of my favorite characters, it's criminal we don't have a quarter scale or better licensed Scarlet Spider. Easy to do. We would love it. I wouldn't want mixed media, but you could kind of get away with like an all red sculpt and a mixed media hoodie. But I don't want to give anyone the wrong idea. I know most collectors want that fully sculpted, but you could do that and the sensational Spider-Man costume, the Ben Reilly when he first becomes Spider-Man. I've always loved that costume design. They've recently brought it back in the comics. We've got enough regular Spider-Man. You've done the McFarlane portrait, great. You've done the Bagley vibe. Let's get that sensational Spider-Man costume. Next up, one of the fan favorite X-Men villains that has not been given proper treatment. It's Mr. Sinister. And I really only threw him on the list because I knew you guys would be in the comments saying Mr. Sinister. One is coming that I'm aware of, so we'll just keep that under wraps for now. But we could go down the list of naming a ton of X-Men. I mean, Lady Deathstrike, the list goes on and on, but I do think we should highlight Jubilee. This is a character that deserves a quarter scale or better treatment, probably quarter scale. I could see Sideshow doing her. Maybe if she's in the new X-Men cartoon and that animated series does really well because she played such a big role, such a prominent figure in the first animated series, I think that's one that collectors would pick up. Again, give it a 750 ES. I guarantee it'll sell out and appreciate. Oh wait, I gotta mention one more X-Men. Criminal that we don't have a proper Bishop statue. Man, if Sideshow did one to Companion Cable, I would have to go back and buy the Cable. I sold my quarter scale X-Men for the Iron Studios diorama, which has Cable and a Bishop, actually. But a quarter scale Bishop, I could see Sideshow doing it. I could see XM doing it. They just did the Cable and Hope. That is a no-brainer. Don't know how Bishop hasn't been done yet. Or for that matter, a proper Luke Cage, man. I don't think there's any. There might be a custom out there, but I could even see XM doing a Luke Cage with a switch-out torso to give him the Bronze Age look or the modern look. That can easily be done and avoid neck seams. Even though that tiara type of yellow top from the 70s didn't really age well, that's a lot of people's favorite character. There is a big following for Luke Cage, and I don't want to go down the whole rabbit hole because we could do the rest of the Defenders. I mean, Jessica Jones. You could do, I'm wearing the shirt, Shang-Chi, which I kind of get why they haven't done a quarter-scale comic version, or Eternals for that matter. You'll probably see Hot Toys and things like that, and more so movie versions. So I don't really want to go down that whole rabbit hole. But I do have two characters I want to highlight that I think we deserve a comic version. We've had MCU versions. The first one is Loki. Loki is kind of like on my top 3 pieces that I would love. A comic version of Loki. I could see XM doing it. I could see Sideshow doing it. There's a great custom on the throne. I can see a throne piece for it, but as long as it's comic, I think Sideshow's got an opportunity right now to pair with their new Thor premium format. That's a missed opportunity if they don't release Loki sometime soon to Companion. And the other one would be Falcon. Falcon is a dope character. Again, anytime you get wings, you can do such an impressive piece. And you can go old school red costume. You can give him the new Cap costumes. Got the new movie coming out. Probably Hot Toys and other kind of 6-scale figures are attacking this. But as far as a quarter scale premium statue, Falcon definitely should get some love. You know what? And I forgot to even put it on the list, but Winter Soldier as well. We have an MCU version, comic version, switch out shield options, Bucky options. There's a lot you could do with a Winter Soldier. All right, guys, we're almost to the end of this list. I've got to mention the Fantastic Four. Sideshow did a thing, a great piece. I saw it for the cheap the other day. I might pick it up, but they haven't done a Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, or Invisible Woman. But I'm sure we'll start to get those closer towards MCU movies. Speaking of MCU movies that are highly rumored but not confirmed, Nova. Richard Ryder or Sam Alexander, whichever one you want to do. I think a Nova statue comic version is overdue. I could see either XM or Sideshow really attacking this since they do more of the Marvel stuff. Another kind of fan favorite cult following character would be the Sentry. It's basically like a Superman type of character with a different color scheme, except he's certified crazy. So you can have a crazy rage portrait, maybe do something with the eyes. what is he? The power of 1 billion exploding suns. That would be a dope figure. I could see XM tackling that. That seems more of something that they would pick up. It would probably sell out, would probably appreciate, and they would do the fully sculpted treatment on it for sure. Next one up, guys, is probably in my top 3, right up there with Loki, but Mephisto, a comic version. I've seen sculpts and things that should have been from the past that never came to fruition. XM would do an amazing Mephisto on throne, or whatever. You could have him on top of rocks. I could see Sideshow doing a more real estate friendly version where he's kind of got his arm out and he's standing up or whatever. But a Mephisto top tier Marvel villain, it'll sell out. You could probably do 1,500 of those. We're almost done here, and I want to mention Morbius. I mean, the guy just had his own movie. The character deserves a quarter scale treatment. Spider-Man villain, you've got the whole vampire vibe to it. I'm not sure why this wasn't tackled. I had a custom piece back in the day, and it's just one that I'm surprised. We have animated series, we have him in a movie, we have him in comics, action figures. We're down to the last 3 characters. I'm going to give one to Gore the God Butcher. We're getting him in a movie. Apparently he doesn't look anything like he looks in the comics in the movie, so what a perfect time to get a proper representation of this character in all his alien-like form with the Necro Sword. Man, again, I can see XM attacking this one because there's so many Easter eggs you could put with Thor elements in the base, or the Warriors 3 or other dead gods. A lot of opportunity with Gore. Can't talk about top tier Marvel villains without one of their most recent. We're talking about Null. We mentioned the Necro Sword. Well, this is the guy who birthed it. The King in Black, the King of the Symbiotes. We've gotten a few customs, and a lot of 3D freelancers are doing sculpts of Null. And I think XM, that's another one that's kind of in their realm. I don't really see Sideshow doing it, although they did do Batman Who Laughs pretty recent from his inception, so I thought that was kind of the quickest turnaround for Sideshow, who typically sticks to the more legacy characters. So, hey, whoever wants to tackle it, I'm here for it. But number 1 on the list, my number 1 quarter scale or better licensed character that I think it's criminal that has not been done yet, we're going to get into right after I thank That Spider-Man Booth for sponsoring this video. Make sure to follow them over on Whatnot. They do daily live comic book auctions where you can pick up their new exclusive variants through their sister company Street Level Hero, or win their CGC keys that they sell via mystery boxes on the stream. If you haven't, you can download Whatnot using my link in the description. It'll actually get you a $10 credit that you can use towards your first purchase, whether it's with That Spider-Man Booth or with me, as I'm on there live selling every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific. All right, guys, my number 1, and I think a lot of you are going to have to agree with me, Spawn. We do not have a licensed quarter scale or better Spawn, and this is an Image Comics property. It's not Marvel, it's not DC. It's owned by Todd McFarlane, who produces the best action figures in the biz, and even does cool stuff like make that munitions package for the weaponry that you can use with any one of the characters that McFarlane Toys produced, which includes characters from other publishers. But Todd's always been like a man of the people guy. He'd rather sell 1 million people a $20 figure than sell 20 people $1 million figure, you know, if that math works out the same. You know, he doesn't seem to like the idea of a premium price tag on stuff, and I respect him for that. But as fans who are willing to pay, we're like, dude, man, give Prime 1 the license. Let him do a 1/3 scale while XM does a quarter scale and Sideshow does a quarter scale or something, man. Like, we want it as collectors. We're willing to pay, obviously, these exorbitant prices for these collectibles. So Spawn is much needed. And don't get me going down the Spawn rabbit hole of medieval Spawn, of Angela, of Cygor, of the villains, of Malbolgia and all that. We're getting too crazy. I know there's a lot of smaller scale pieces, a lot of fan art pieces out there, but I'm talking where you can order it and you don't have to feel like you might get robbed or might get scammed, or you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, that was a different kind of video for today. Popular characters that haven't been given the proper statue treatment. Let me know if I forgot any. This was a longer list than I thought. Let me know in the comments down below, or give me who you think should be on the top as far as characters that we deserve that statue treatment. Thanks for watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace.